There's a string of numbers on the back of this board, and at first glance, it looks like a serial number or design detail, but it's not. It's a date. February 26, 2023, 8:55 a.m. to be exact, the very moment the designer created the first project file for this board, and over 2 years later, it's actually here. This is the Equilibrium by Scribbleb. Hey everyone, welcome back to Scoop Bar. Quick heads up, this video is sponsored by Scribbleb, but everything you're about to hear is our honest take, good and bad. If you're new here, Scoop Bar is a passion project that me and my friend V run alongside our full-time jobs. If you get value out of this review, a like or subscribe goes a long way, and if you're interested in anything I talk about today, affiliate links are in the description. So this is Equilibrium 6, round 2. It is a 60% keyboard with symmetrical layout. You got 4 extra function keys on the left, 4 on the right, perfectly balanced. It comes in 2 layout options, a 4x60x4, which is your Unikeys 60% XT, and a 4x64x4, which is a 64% XT that adds on an arrow cluster with a 1U right shift. What's in the box is pretty great for the price. You're getting a aluminum case with stainless steel weight, plate, hot swap PCB, a carrying bag, multiple foam layers, Poron, IXPE, sandwich cotton, plus silicone gasket pellets. Pricing starts at $198 USD for an anodized single mode build with a plain stainless steel weight. The most you'll pay is $268 USD for spray coated tri-mode with mother of pearl inlay weight. For a full aluminum kit and this many included accessories, it's priced decently well for a board with a unique layout. One thing I want to note early on is that we're working with a prototype PCB here that does not support QMK. Now, Scribbleb has confirmed the production PCB will have full VIA and QMK support, including on the new 1.6mm tri-mode option, so keep that in mind throughout this review. What we're showing you is a prototype PCB, and the production board should address that. The group buy is live right now through ClickClock and other regional vendors, and it ends on April 28th, so if this board catches your eye, you got about 2 weeks to decide. The studio behind this is Scribbleb, a small operation run by a designer named GC. Most of you probably have not come across them before. They're based in China, and round 1 of Equilibrium was their first product, mostly sold in the Eastern market through vendors in Vietnam and through Bilibili. Round 2 is their push into the international market. Originally, Unikeys was supposed to run this in US, but the project got delayed, and not by a little. It was long enough that other reviewers who have protos thought the project was dead and moved on. ClickClock ended up picking it up for the US side with vendors in Singapore, UK, EU, Canada, and Australia. The fact that this board made it to group buy at all after all this delay says something about GC's stubbornness in the best way possible. What stood out to me is GC's reason for making this board. He didn't start with marketing analysis or a target audience. He just wanted to make his dream keyboard. He's a big fan of Raiden. That's the traditional Japanese craft of mother of pearl inlay, and he wanted to put that art form on a keyboard. That's why the hand inlay weights exist. Each one is unique. The shell pieces are set by hand, and the colors shift depending on how the light hits them. And here's a fun detail. See the numbers on the weight? That's not a serial number. It's February 26, 2023, 8:55 a.m. The exact moment GC created the first project file for Equilibrium. Over 2 years from that morning to a finished group buy, he told us he wanted that timestamp there as a reminder. Don't give up on what you're building. The other thing that really impressed me is how responsive the team has been. We gave feedback on the screw types, the spacebar plate design, PCB thickness, ribbon cables, and the battery filler for wire builds. They've addressed almost all of it. Screws are changing from Phillips to magnetic hex. The 1.6mm PCB got added to tri-mode. Spare ribbons will now be included in the kit. For a studio this small and this new, that level of responsiveness is genuinely rare. Let's start with how this thing looks. The equilibrium feels modern and minimalist, but not boring, and that's honestly a pretty hard balance to hit. The symmetrical XD columns give it a silhouette that you don't normally see on other 60% boards. The spray-coated finishes have this glitter texture that photos don't really capture well. In person, the sparkling gray and black have this subtle depth. The anodized options are clean too, and you can mix and match top and bottom case colors within the same finish type. Plus, swap out badges, weights, and battery covers, tons of different combinations. Out of the options, I will pick the PC badge and the mother of pearl weight. If you get one, you're going to flip the board over just to look at it. Every single one of them are different, and the Raiden craft isn't just on the way. There are also matching screw trays and artisan keycaps available as add-ons, all with the same shell inlay options. So if you want that mother of pearl look to carry throughout your whole build, they've thought about that. RGB is handled well here too. There's a light glide silicone gel that distributes the light evenly with blocking foam to keep the bleed in check. So good RGB implementation here. Now, construction. The Equilibrium uses a bottom mount with silicone pellet gaskets. 12 of them come in the kit. There's a pour-on gasket options too, but it doesn't give enough cushion on its own. Scribbleb wants you to use the silicone pellets as the primary mount, and I'll be honest, I would just treat this board as a only one mount and don't even bother considering the pour-on gasket option at all. Also, those two small gaskets that kind of look like spare mounting pieces, they are LED blockers, not part of the mounting system. A couple thoughts here. ZMK wireless support will be a great addition for future revision for just better battery life. And stainless steel filler with force brake will be kind of the ideal move here for sound, but a filler is better than an empty cavity. Here's where the plate and PCB options come in. You got 1.5mm PC, FL4, and aluminum plates, plus 1.2mm and 1.6mm PCBs in both flex cut and no flex cut. Aluminum plate with no flex cut is going to be your firmest and probably brightest sounding configuration. PC plate with flex cut and plate foam is going to give you a deeper sound profile and a softer typing feel. The 1.6mm adds stiffness on top of that. Lots of room to kind of dial in the sound and tight feel that you will want. One thing I want to talk about is the spacebar. On the prototype aluminum plate, the spacebar sounded kind of flat, and here's why. If you look at the plate, the spacebar section has mounting connections on both sides. There's a strip of holes that kind of makes it a leaf spring, but it's still anchored at the 2 points. And when both sides are locked down like that, the plate can't really flex in that area. Think of it like a ruler on a desk. Clamp both ends and flick it, it barely moves. If you hold one end and flick it, it vibrates freely. It's kind of the same principle here with the plate. That's why top mount boards without leaf spring tend to have a dead spacebar. You need to kind of isolate the plate to let it breathe a little. Scribbleb said they're considering adjusting the cutout on the aluminum plate for the production, which should definitely help. The ideal fix would be isolating the leaf spring to a single connection point. That will let the spacebar sound livelier and move more comfortably. The silicone pallet mount is the way to go for this board. With the Poron alone, they're just not enough gift. The silicone pallets give you a softer, bouncier feel that works well overall. For our sound test, we ran 3 pairings. HMX Black on aluminum with no flex cut against our Neo 65 CU control board. Keygeek Muse on aluminum with no flex cut versus Keygeek Muse on PC plate with flex cut and plate foam. And HMX Ash with same aluminum versus PC comparisons. You'll hear all of those at the end of the video. If you want a 60% that doesn't look like every other 60 on the market and you care about the details, the symmetry, the weight options, the fact that a designer put 2 years of himself into this, the equilibrium is worth a look. Or if you're someone who loves 60% but also wants some macro columns, this is kind of one of the few that are available. The pricing makes it pretty accessible. Under $200 for the base configuration, it's kind of hard to argue for an aluminum kit this complete. And if you want the mother of pearl weight, you're still under 270 USD. Again, group buy ends on April 28th. Estimated fulfillment is Q4 2026. Where I hesitate. If you need a brand with years of proven support behind it, Scribbleb is still relatively new, but it helps having vendors that have been around for a bit for after sales support. If you need standard keycap compatibility without thinking about it, the 64%'s 1U right shift and the XT column is going to give you some headache. The 60% layout is going to be a lot safer here, but you will still need the XT column coverage. And if VIA and QMK on Trimo matters to you, make sure you go with a 1.6mm PCB. The designer GC told us his core message is simple: never give up on pursuing your hobbies. And I can see it in how he designed this board and accepting feedback as well. It's a passion project from a designer who built exactly what he wanted and found a way to price it so other people could have it too. The feedback Scribbleb acted on shows they care about getting it right, not just shipping it out. Most of what I change is refinement and not a redesign. I would love to see what the production PCBs will look like with proper QMK support. And as always, I would love to see more PCBs adopt ZMK for a much better wireless performance. And I want to see the spacebar plate isolation to deliver on the promise of better sound. But as it stands, the Equilibrium is a board with real thought behind it. Appreciate you for watching all the way through. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next build.